3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at him.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As that's still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
No back into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh,
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Well, welcome back, race fans. It's Sunday evening. You know what that means? We're doing some Apex this Fix Ferrari in the Ferrari Challenge Racing. This week, week number 5, we're nearing the halfway point. It's going to take us to a new track on the service this season for iRacing, the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park at the Bend. It's the crown jewel of Australian motorsport, nestled in Talon Bend, South Australia, just 100 kilometers southeast of Adelaide. It's a world-class facility, boasts the GT circuit, stretching a jaw-dropping 7.770 kilometers with 35 turns, making it the world's second longest permanent racetrack on the planet, right behind Germany's Nürburgring Nordschleife for high-octane events like supercars and superbikes. The international circuit offers a more compact yet thrilling 4.950 kilometer route with 18 turns. That's the layout we'll be running tonight, the international circuit with our Fix Ferraris. A couple interesting facts here: the Bend is one of only 4 circuits in Australia with a FIA Grade 2 license capable of hosting elite international racing. The GT circuit's elevation changes and technical complexity mimic legendary sections like Silverstone's Maggotts Beckett's, offering a roller coaster ride for drivers. It's not just a track, it's a destination with a trackside hotel, karting circuit, drag strip, and even a 4-wheel drive adventure park. The Bend is built for a full throttle immersion. So whether you're chasing lap records or soaking in the roar from the grandstands, the Shell V-Power Motorsport Park is where adrenaline meets asphalt. So let's take a hop on board with a couple of drivers here. See how they're doing on track. Is currently here Mark Miller sitting in second for qualifying, so qualifying well underway right now, and this one we'll take a look here and see what we've got for times. Jesse Meager up top of qualifying 147.4. Actually, he's going to drop down now as Brian Lemke just goes around to take that spot away with 146.9, our first driver into the 46-second time. So we'll see how they make out here as the qualifying goes on. We're just having a quick look here at timing and scoring. Looks like we have about 14 cars in the server here tonight. So generally happens with the newer tracks. When we head to the newer tracks, you get a little less turnout as far as drivers just don't know the track, don't feel comfortable racing it, and they want to maybe give it a season or two or really learn the track. But we have a championship battle that's going on in this one. Let's take a look at those standings here while we have qualifying underway. First up, we'll take a look at the mid-pack Larry side of things, also known as our AM drivers. Chris Diaz leading the way with 74 points. That puts him 2 points ahead of Aaron Sunday in second spot. Sunday at 72 points. A nice gap over Oz Exilu in third. Oz at 49 points, up 2 points on Kent Kruger. And then they're up a number of points there. Looks like about 15 points ahead of Sean Giroux and Jesse Meager, who are battling it out for 5th place. Over on the pro side of things, we've got Brian Zinn leading the way, 62 points, 3 points up on Sean Teeter. Teeter was last season's GT4 winner, so strong showing. Actually, I believe, I don't remember if it was Zinn that won the Porsche Cup last season or if it was Lemke, but either way, a couple of our top 2 drivers last season battling it out at the top of the pro championships right now, with Joseph Marr only 1 point back of Sean Teeter in third, and Justin Atchison lurking in there too as well, only 2 points back of Marr. Mark Miller going to round at the top 5 at 51 points, so only 11 points separating our top 5 drivers on the pro side. I think so. Real tight battle still going on in the championship here as we're heading to the halfway point, but we've got drivers on track putting in their times. As qualifying starting to wind down, 10-minute qualifying per usual, or 4 laps, whichever comes first. On board here with John Cooper. Coop, not the best season so far. He's had a couple races that he probably want to forget about at this point in time, but right now Coop strongly up top, got himself into second place. He's knocked Jesse Meager down into third, although only 3 100s separating those 2 drivers. So see if Coop has anything here on the back half of his lap, try and take that spot away from Meager. But our current pole sitter, Brian Lemke, leading the way, also our only driver into the 46s. So nice run by Brian Lemke. Definitely he's put in the time this week to learn this track. Shown right now up on the timing and scoring board. Let's go on board here with Lemke. Take a look at what this track looks like from the onboard. It's not the prettiest track, I'm gonna have to say, as far as say facilities around the track. There's also not a whole lot of braking markers, as you can see. A lot of blind corners, off camber corners. You really kind of have to drive on feel at this track, as there's not really your traditional where you'd use, you know, buildings, markers, landmarks, whatever you can on the outside of the track as brake markers and turn-in markers. You can really see it's very desolate around the track. There's not really even any signage or advertising around the track to really use to, as well as we see Lemke using up all the curb and then some. He's going to go off track, pull into the pits, just as timing and scoring comes to an end for qualifying. So we'll let that reset, and then we'll take a look at how we're going to stack up here tonight for our 45-minute race. As usual in the Ferrari Challenge. I was thinking of the Porsche Cup from last season. But we are doing the fixed Ferrari in the new Ferrari Challenge car for the season. So new car, new track. Should be an interesting combination here. There we go. Time grid is up. Brian Lemke, as mentioned, taking top spot. Mark Miller takes away second place from John Cooper at the very end. Move Coop down to P3. Jesse Meager going to start in 4th. Joseph Marr and Michael Cummings going to make up row 3. Justin Atchison and Brian Zinn make up row 4 and 7th and 8th. Oz Exilu in 9th. Corey Mitchell rounding out the top 10. Aaron Sunday in 11th. Chris Diaz going to start in 12th. Sean Giroux and Kent Kruger are going to round out the field here of 14 cars. So we're waiting for our drivers to grid up. We'll be taking a lap around behind the Porsche pace car. While they do that, we'll take a moment here to mention our sponsor for the season. Again, Apex Sim Racing has come on board to sponsor the league for the season, as well as cover the broadcast, so we appreciate them. Thank you again for coming on board. Apex Sim Racing for immersive racing gear. They carry Cube Controls, Momo, Moser Racing, Seatbelt, Sigma Integrale, Sim Magic, OBP Motorsport, OMP, Rich D, PC, and their own Apex Sim Racing brands. They carry pedals, steering wheels, wheelbases, displays, shifters, seats, dashboards, button boxes, cables, and more. You can use the link that you can find at apexthis.racing/our partners to take advantage of that. All Apex This racers save up to 5% with Apex This code. So that's Apex Sim Racing Gear. Thank you again for being on board this season. Looks like we've got all of our drivers on grid. Here as we're going to pull away from the pace car, or from the starting grid behind the pace car. See Brian Lemke and Mark Miller making up the front row. Just take a quick look at our schedule here while we have a moment to as well, while the drivers are out on track. Let's see, where did I put that schedule? I've misplaced it for a moment. Okay, here we go. We've got the schedule up as we are at round 5, Shell V Power Motor Park at the, let's try that again. Shell V Power Park at the Bend. Round 6 next week takes us to Monza, where we'll follow it up with Hungaroring and then Coda, Circuit of the Americas for round 8. Circuit de la Sarthe, Le Mans for round 9. Zandvoort for round 10. Round 11 takes us to Mid-Ohio. And round 12, we are going to wrap it up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course, the Roval, I guess you could call it too as well. So still some interesting tracks coming up throughout this season. Some that I know are generally some fan favorites within the Apex this league. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of turnouts we have for those races. Definitely next week at Monza should bring out a nice large crowd. If you're interested in joining the race or the league, they're always recruiting. Find a link in the description to join the Apex this Discord. They race 3 nights a week. Sunday being the first night of the week where they kick it off in the fixed Ferrari. And then Tuesday nights is, I believe, I'll have to look in. I can't remember what they're doing Tuesday nights as it switches back and forth. Thursday night is IndyCar. If you're interested in the IndyCar racing, you'll find that on Thursday nights. I've actually raced a couple times. I am a terrible IndyCar driver, as you'll see evidenced by my results. If you happen to take a look at the results side of things from the IndyCar results. But last week was, where were we at? We're at Montreal in the IndyCars, and let's just say I got into it with my teammate coming out of the second to last quarter, where he had a little bit of a bobble, and unfortunately I had nowhere to go. Broke my front wing off. Had to drive around for about 5-6 laps with next to no steering. That front end, was able to get it repaired as we came in for a pit stop and used our quick repair, but unfortunately at that point in time the damage was done, and we had to kind of settle for a back of the lap finish and nursing the fuel home the rest of the race. But it was fun. Again, IndyCar, a car that I'm not all that great at. Actually, open wheel in general, not that great. But into the final corner we go. Pace car going to duck in this time by. Field will be under Brian Lemke and Mark Miller's control. They have to wait for the green flag to go. So we see, there we go. Green is up and we're underway. 14 cars chasing down into turn 1. Brian Lemke trying to hold on to top spot on the inside. Miller trying to make his way around the outside. Looks like Jonathan Cooper trying to dive up underneath Mark Miller. He's going to take that spot away from Mark Miller. Actually, Joe Samara going to take it away too as well. So not the start that Mark Miller wanted. He's going to drop all the way back down into 4th place, potentially into 5th. Jesse Meager was looking inside. Oh, Meager's going to lose the back end as he spins around. It's going to cost him a ton of time. Looks like Christopher Diaz off track too as well. Oh no, Brian Zinn is off as well. Looks like Zinn lost the front bumper somewhere. Let's see if we can catch a replay of what happened there. But up front, Jonathan Cooper, strong run. Up 1 spot into 2nd place. Joseph Myers just behind him, up 2 spots too as well. See if we can catch a look at what happened to Jesse Meager here. Jesse Meager, the blue car on the inside. Looks like he got up on the curve, kind of unsettled the balance of the car, and around he went. And let's see, Corey Mitchell, I believe, in evading. Oh, he got tagged by Brian Zinn. Looks like Zinn just got loose through there. Let's see if we can catch what happened to Zinn. Yeah, it looks like he was trying to collect it up after avoiding Jesse Meager. Just lost the back end and off he went. So unfortunate for all those drivers, but They do have a quick repair, but they'll be able to pop in and have the front end repaired on those cars. Themselves back on track, but we got Michael Cummings here right now trying to battle with Justin Atchison. Cummings in 6th place where he qualified. One of the few drivers so far on lap 1 that's managed to maintain his qualifying position. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for Michael, as everyone around him has either moved up or down. Our biggest mover to this point is Sean Giroux, up 5 spots from where he qualified. Got himself up into 8th place, as we see Giroux back here in the black, green, and white machine. Nice run for Sean Giroux. He started on the final row with Kent Kruger. Kruger up 2 as well into 10th place, up 4 spots for him. So nice run for both of those drivers early on. See if Kent's able to chase down Chris Diaz up ahead of him. Let's go up here. The battle between Atchison and Cummings. So they're closing up to Mark Miller a little bit. Mark Miller, not the start he wanted. Qualified in the front row on P2. He's fallen down to 4th place, and now he's going to start to feel a little bit of pressure from Justin Atchison and Michael Cummings in behind. See what kind of pressure they can put them on, but I've had a quick look here. The Tuesday night racing that I couldn't remember off the top of my head was Mazda MX-5s. So MX-5, always a fun car to drive around. Pretty much any track you go to, very draft dependent. Stay in the draft, you can usually battle for a win at some point in time. But oh, Jonathan Cooper sending it right up Brian Lemke's tailpipe there. Coop getting real late on the brakes. Lemke looked like he was getting a little worried, kind of squirrely on the car, get back into throttle. Probably saw that red Ferrari of Jonathan Cooper coming racing up behind him. Hop back here on board with Jonathan Cooper, see if he could try and find a way around Lemke. Looks like he's going a whole lot later in the braking zone than what Lemke's doing up ahead. Coop trying to stay right on the back bumper of Brian Lemke, trying to force a mistake from him. But Lemke, a fairly solid driver, it's going to take a ton of pressure from Coop to force that mistake, but Coop's here for it. Let's go back to Sean Giroux. We said Sean Giroux was our biggest mover and shaker early on in this one. Now he's feeling some pressure from Christopher Diaz. Diaz himself up 3 spots from where he qualified, so nice start by Chris Diaz at this point in time. See if he can put some pressure on Sean Giroux. See the alternate lines there between those two drivers. Drew holding a little wider line there. Diaz trying to hold a tighter line. Looks like Drew was able to carry a little more pace through that corner, open up the gap a little bit over Diaz. But as they get back into the twisty stuff, Diaz closing back in. See what kind of pressure Chris Diaz can potentially put on Sean Giroux. Is just behind them. Aaron Sunday. Oh, Sunday's going to go off track. He'll have to gather it up. But Kent Kruger in behind him would have loved to see a little more of a mistake there from Sunday to get him up into the battle with Aaron Sunday to go on board with the big dog. Kent Kruger, the chief admin of the league. As I mentioned, nice showing for him so far. Up 3 spots. Taking advantage of mistakes by Jesse Meager, Brian Zinn, and Corey Mitchell. Looks like Corey already had to come in to use this quick repair. Actually, looks like Corey didn't come back out on the track. Still driving around with that front bumper missing. Looks like Corey pulled it into the pits, called it a day early on in this one. So, unfortunate for him. I'm sure we'll see him back next week in Monza. If I remember correctly, I believe it's one of Corey's more preferred tracks, we'll say. Jonathan Cooper falling back a little bit off Brian Lemke now. Lemke being able to find a little bit of pace here to move himself away from Cooper. As you can see there, I mentioned early on, there's not really any brake markers or any real facilities or infrastructure around the track, not even any signage. Like normally you see like advertisements for either tire companies, fluids, motorsport fluids, any type of stuff, drinks, anything on they kind of use as a brake marker at some point. It's really, there's really just nothing there. It's kind of very barren. So it's really going to come down to what drivers put in the time to get a real feel for the rhythm of the track, see how well they do. So Coop's falling back a little bit from Lemke, but this battle between Diaz and Giroux still a little spicy here. Let's go on board with Chris Diaz. He's trying to find a way around Sean Giroux. See Giroux going a little wide there to gather the car back up. Probably want to get into the throttle a little quicker than he did. Misses the apex in the final corner. Diaz holds a little tighter line. We'll see what kind of run he gets down the front straight here. See if we make a move into turn one. Not close enough. The draft not super strong on these cars. Diaz gonna have to try and find another way around. Aaron Sunday's starting to lurk into the battle now. You can see him getting ever so closer to Chris Diaz. Is Sean Giroux going to go wide? That's going to put Diaz right up his right side. Fortunately for Giroux, he has the inside line in the next corner. Chris Diaz going to try and dive right underneath. He does. Late onto the brakes. Sean Giroux fighting back on the outside. Diaz tried to get back into the throttle. Got squirrely there. A little bit of wheel spin cost him that position. Sean Giroux able to hold on to that spot, but they're going to continue to battle on. So have a look back here from Sean Giroux. Having a look at Chris Diaz and behind. See Diaz really driving deeper into the brake zones than Sean Giroux. Diaz might have a little more pace at this point in time, but just can't find a way around Giroux. That's brought Sunday firmly into this battle, and Kruger lurking just in behind too as well. Oh, Sean Giroux get up on the curbs. It cost him 2 spots. Aaron Sunday going to get around him. Kent Kruger there trying to capitalize too as well. See how hungry Kent is now. He saw that a mistake can be forced out of Giroux up ahead if he keeps the pressure on him. It's be interesting to see how much pressure Kruger can apply to Sean Giroux. See if Aaron Sunday now can catch up to Chris Diaz. He's able to capitalize on the mistake from Sean Giroux too as well, but it's like Giroux tightened up that gap heading into the final corner. Not getting enough draft to make a move into turn one. Looks like Sunday's going to be able to hold on to that spot for now. It's our closest battle on track again. We see Giroux going out wide into turn 3. Oh, he's loose out of the throttle, out of that corner again, getting into the throttle. Kent Kruger starting to smell blood in the water right now. Go on board here with Kruger, the Yorkshire Tea machine. Kent trying to find a way to keep the pressure on the back of Sean Giroux. You hear them pretty much just feathering the throttle all the way through there. No real area to apply the throttle, just like one big, almost a 360-degree turn coming through there. Kent Kruger now as close as he's been all race to the back of Sean Giroux. Sure, using up all the curbing that he can, trying to maximize his pace out of that corner. Kent Kruger dives deep under braking. A little later on the brakes for Kruger, compromises exit speed on that one. Sean Giroux starting to reel back in Aaron Sunday. Sunday in the Our House No Drama machine. Take a look back here from Sunday's wing. See Giroux and Kruger lurking in behind as they're going to come across the line to finish up lap 7. Looks like Aaron Sunday is getting a nice run out of that final corner. He's able to keep the gap from Sean Giroux. Giroux diving late under the brakes though. Into turn 1, close that gap a little bit, and we see Giroux again. He goes out real wide into that corner. Last time he got squirrely up under the curbs. A little better exit this time here for him. That's where we really saw Kruger able to close that gap. But up top, Jonathan Cooper now feeling some pressure from Joseph Mara. He's falling back from Brian Lemke. Lemke now opened up almost a 4-second gap over Cooper, but Joseph Mara putting a ton of pressure on the back of Coop's red and yellow black Shell V-Power machine. So Coop bringing the Shell paint scheme to the Shell V-Power track here in Talon Bend. Nice set of corners there for Jonathan Cooper, able to open up that gap over Joseph Mara. Mark Miller getting in on this battle too as well. We know Mark has the pace. He sat in the front row to start this race. He's fallen back a little bit. Lost 2 spots early on, but we'll see if he's able to recoup those. He's showing a ton of pace here right now. Out of the final corner they go, and down the front straight. Let's go on board here with Mark Miller. See the machine of Marr and Cooper up ahead. There, Lemke just going off into the distance on the right-hand side through turn 1. Almost looks like Mark Miller's maybe just biding his time back here, potentially trying to save some fuel. We know our drivers are going to have to come in at some point in time to take some fuel. They won't need tires, but if you can stay here in the draft, save a little bit of fuel, have a little shorter pit stop, you could leapfrog these drivers you're battling ahead just through pit strategy alone. So it'll be interesting to see once we start getting into the pit cycles, if Mark Miller stays in this position, what kind of time he can make up here on Mara and Cooper up ahead. Looks like this battle's kind of solidified here now. Coop been able to open that gap back up to about 0.8 over Joseph Mara. Kind of hold it firm. Mara actually falling back a little bit into the clutches of Mark Miller here the last few corners. Justin Atchison not too far back of this battle either. Atchison up 2 spots from where he qualified. If they start to battle up ahead of him, that would work out well for him. He'd be able to close in on that gap. But right now, comfortably in 5th place, +2 for the day. We'll see how he continues to go on. Check back here in the battle between Sean Giroux. Looks like Jesse Meager's been able to get around Kent Kruger. It looks like Kruger has fallen way back. Looks like Kent Kruger came in. He's going for the undercut. I mentioned it week in, week out that we potentially see any of our drivers go for the undercut, come in early, try and capitalize on a quicker pit stop, try and leapfrog through strategy. So we'll see. Kent Kruger was our first car into the pits for a scheduled pit stop. So we'll see how it works out for him once the rest of the field starts coming through. But right now, the battle is between Joseph Marr and Mark Miller. I see Mark Miller in the yellow Ferrari 296 Challenge car lurking in behind Joseph Marr. Looks like Joseph much better through this section, opens that gap back up again over Mark Miller, but this allowed Coop to pull away. Coop now opening up over 1 second over Joseph Marr. See if Coop's able to start to reel back in Brian Lemke, who, while these three have been battling, opened himself up a nice comfortable gap, 4.1 seconds up ahead. Lemke has it on cruise control out front. Could probably go into a little bit of fuel save mode now if he wanted to. Lift and coast a little bit heading into the corners. Try and save that fuel load. Minimize his pit stop necessary. Lemke also our only driver into the 46-second lap times. 1 minute 46.89. Quickest lap of the race right now held by our leader, Brian Lemke. Let's cross the line to finish up lap 9 and start lap 10 for him. Oh, this battle is getting tight for 3rd place. Mark Miller now closing the gap on Joseph Marr. If he can get another 10th or 2 closer, he could really start to put some pressure on the back of Joseph Marr. Looks like Joseph's starting to mirror watch a little bit. You see him heavy into the throttle of that corner. The back end got a little loose on him. Means he's starting to feel the pressure from Mark Miller. See if Miller continues to close that gap or not. But Justin Atchison starting to get closer as well too. Oh, I see that he throws it into that corner. I thought for a minute he was going to go off into the left side grass there. He was coming in super hot, but they had just enough downforce to keep that car on track. Let's go on board here with Mark Miller as they head into the final sector here. A couple more corners to go and then we'll be finishing up lap 10. Let's see what, oh, Joseph Marr. Looks like that car got a little loose, shot out to the right side. See what kind of run that Mark Miller can get out of the final corner here and down the front straight. See if he can put some pressure on Joseph Marr into turn 1. Miller holding the tighter line there into the final corner. Marr goes off track a little bit, trying to maximize the pace out of the corner. Miller's close here, showing the nose up the inside. Trying to force a mistake by Marr. Marr not going for it at this point in time. Miller trying to get Marr to watch in his mirrors, potentially blow the brake point, force him out wide. Joseph Marr not falling for it at this point in time. He's going to hang on to battle again a little later. Brian Lemke continues to lead the way up top. He's got that gap now, 4.3 seconds over Jonathan Cooper. Coop himself opening up a nice 2.1, 2.2 second gap over Joseph Marr. So a little bit of bobble there for Coop. A few laps back, fell back into the nose of Joseph Marr. Was able to gather himself back up. He's got himself back rolling again here up front. So we'll see if Coop can continue to open up that gap. But back to this bout. Mark Miller looks up to the inside of Joseph Marr. He's going to make that pass. Oh, and then as I say it, Joseph Marr tries to get back into the throttle. He's going to lose the back end. Trying to recover that position he just lost. He's going to catch him out. He's going to lose a couple more positions here. He's going to get back on track. Ozek Sulu coming up quick. Looks like Marr going to get back on track, though, to hold on to that position. He's going to have some hot tires here, though, for a couple corners. We'll see if Exulu able to put some pressure on him. Ooh, Joseph Marr going wide again. He's driving with a little bit of red mist potentially here after that mistake. Marr's going to come in for his pit cycle now. It's probably a wise choice for him. Trying to minimize the losses, but Mark Miller back up into third place. Now we'll see if Miller can chase down Jonathan Cooper up ahead. Let's take another look here at what happened to Joseph Marr. Mark Miller just made the move. Joseph Marr, oh, he tried to throw it tight into the corner. Car got a little squirrely. I thought he had it gathered up there, but then the back end just broke loose on him. At that point in time, he was just along for the ride. Looks like Jesse Meager's gotten around Sean Giroux. She looks like they battled back and forth here for a couple corners. Let's take a look here. Meager was looking up the inside of Giroux, trying to make that pass for 9th place. Couldn't quite get it done into turn 1. Giroux fought back on the inside of turn 2. And then finally in turn 3, Meager took it for good. And it looks like since then he's been able to pull away from Sean Giroux. So he was able to chase down Aaron Sunday now up ahead. Sunday holding down 7th place. We saw Meager was one of the cars that spun early on on lap 1, lost the back end after getting up on the curb. So he has some pace, down 4 spots where he qualified. So means he's got some pace to get himself up front. Aaron Sunday up a couple spots, actually up 4 spots where he qualified too as well. So +4 for Sunday, -4 for Meager. Should see a battle shaping up here. Sean Giroux in the background going wide off track in the final corner, trying to throw it deep in, had to gather it up. But down the front straight we go. Sunday leading, Meager. Battle for 7th place. Sunday holding on to that position. It's like Jesse Meager closing in on him fairly quick. Last lap by 147.8 for Jesse Meager to a 149.6 for Aaron Sunday. And in comparison to their fast laps, Meager about 1 second quicker, 147.57 for Meager to Sunday's 148.52. So just going based off that, we should see Jesse Meager close in on the back of Aaron Sunday, but getting around the driver ahead of you is a whole nother story. Sometimes you can catch them, but getting around them, much more difficult, especially on a track like this where there's not really a whole lot of heavy braking zones to really dive up underneath. You have maybe turn 1, and then I believe it's turn 12, possibly the third to last corner, where you can make a move up the inside. So we'll see what kind of pressure Jesse Meager can put on Aaron Sunday here. To go on board with Meager. Sunday goes wide out of there. That's going to allow Meager to close the gap right up. Sunday going to hold a tight line, force Meager to go around the outside from underneath that pass. Meager out in the marbles, unable to get back into the throttle as quickly as he'd want. Just up ahead of them, though, is Christopher Diaz. It's going to be a 3-car battle now. Diaz in 6th place. Looks like something happened to Diaz. We'll take a look at that here in a moment. So stick with this battle as they head around the final corner onto the front straight. We'll see if Jesse Meager able to close up enough of a gap to make a move on Sunday into turn 1. Sunday has the benefit of Chris Diaz's draft up ahead of him now. We'll see if it's enough to defend off any move from Meager. Meager shows a move to the inside, but not close enough to make that attempt into turn 1. So we have a moment here. Let's take a look at what happened to Chris Diaz quickly while this battle goes on. Chris Diaz all alone, looks like he gets out into the marbles, just loses the back end of the car. It's similar to what we saw happen to Jesse Meager on lap 1. Three-car battle now for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Chris Diaz leading this pack around. So we have a look back from his rear wing. See Aaron Sunday and Jesse Meager lurking in behind. Fairly comparable lap times here amongst these 3 drivers. Say Chris Diaz, now that he's got it collected up, opening up a bit of a gap over Aaron Sunday. Oh no, Jesse Meager, something happened to Meager again. Went off track. See if we can pick up what happened to Meager. Oh, it's odd spot there. Look at the car, the rear end just broke loose on him. Let's see if we can get a shot from a little higher up to see what potentially happened there. Oh, just came too hot into the corner. Lost the back end. That's all it takes. These cars, they may look like a GT3 machine, but they do not have anywhere near the aerodynamics of a GT3 machine. Some of these twisty high-speed corners, it's easy to lose the back end like that. So see if he's able to gather himself up. Chris Diaz has come into the pits for his service. To see Jesse Meager going by him now. Back up front, though, story of the day, Brian Lemke put himself up on pole. Managed to fight off the battle. Lap 1, turn 1 to hold on to that position from Mark Miller, John Cooper, and Jesse Meager. And since then, it's just been nose down, driving away. Himself now almost 6 seconds over Jonathan Cooper in 2nd place. Coop himself, nice padding here between he and Justin Atchison. 4.7 seconds between he and Atchison. It's a nice run for Jonathan Cooper. We'll see if he's able to hold it together and bring it home. As I mentioned off the top, Coop, a couple races he'd probably like to forget early on in this one. Oh, something happened to Mark Miller potentially. See him in the pits lap down. He was in second place. See if we can find what happened to our second place driver, Mark Miller. Seeing anything flagged in timing and scoring here as far as a crash. Interesting stuff. I wonder if it was a potential connection issue for Mark Miller and he got dumped back to the pits. We have seen in races past where Mark Miller has blinked out a little bit. Oh, if we have an off track here, let's take a look. See if potentially this is what. No, yeah, just a. Oh, he did have a connection issue and it threw him right into the wall by the looks of things. So he's blinked out here. When he comes back on track, looks like he was just heading right to the wall. So interesting stuff there for Mark Miller. It's unfortunately had a nice race shaping up. It's kind of odd that it sent him back into the wall. Normally when you blink out like that, you can still see where you're going on your screen, but everybody else around you can't. So it's very odd to get thrown back into the wall like that. Maybe it was just a hardware issue potentially too as well. But unfortunate race for Mark Miller. That's going to put him into 12th spot and out of the race in this one. Jonathan Cooper, the beneficiary of that, was starting to feel a little bit of pressure from Miller. He was starting to chase him down, but Coop going to have a firm grasp on second place right now without a whole lot of pressure right now from Justin Atchison. So we're coming up on the 10-minute to go mark. About half of our field has come in for service. Jonathan Cooper, our second place car, coming in now. He's going to get his car fueled up to the end. Justin Atchison going to go around another lap. Going to move him up temporarily into second place. So let's see what kind of I don't want to say outlap, kind of in-lap, we'll call it, Justin Atchison can put in here. We assume as we're seeing more and more drivers pop into the pits here that this should be the last lap of fuel potentially for Atchison and Lemke, our leader. So Atchison was hanging about 3-4 seconds back of Jonathan Cooper. He's going to need a real hot lap and a real quick service to try and pop ahead of Cooper through pits strategy at this point in time, but it can be done. You see Cooper leaving. No, he's still in his pit stall now. It's like potentially a long pit stop here for Cooper. Wonder if he got a penalty heading into the pits. It looks like the rest of our field somewhere in around the 44-46 second for pit stop time. Cooper now 1 minute 10. He's definitely serving a penalty here for Jonathan Cooper. That's going to be a rough end to this strong showing for Coop. Out of the pits now, 50-second time in the pit stop box. It suggests to me he got a speeding penalty heading onto pit road. There's a 40-second stop and hold in the pits for a speeding penalty. That's going to put his 50-second time in the box right in that window. So rough showing for Coop. That's going to easily put Justin Atchison up into second place. Looks like Atchison enough fuel load to go around one more lap. I haven't seen our leader Lemke in yet too as well. Expect him to come in this lap here this time by, as we're going to be on the 9 minutes to go. I believe they're running about 50% fuel load, which should get them roughly in most races, most tracks, to around the 30-minute mark. Plus or minus a few minutes depending on the length of the track, the type of speeds that they're doing. So we go on board here with our leader Lemke, heading into the real dicey section. We've seen a number of drivers lose the back end through here. namely Jesse Meager was the most recent one. Right through this section here where he lost the back end. See the real twisty sections here with a car that doesn't have a whole lot of... Oh! I was just going to say, car that doesn't have a whole lot of... Oh, was that a connection issue for Lemke? It was. He's back on track now. He's losing a ton of time. Lemke is just falling down below Justin Atchison, trying to get that car sorted around. Oh, man, this is not what Brian Lemke had envisioned. He had a massive lead over the rest of the field. See if we can find a replay of what happened there to Brian Lemke as we were on board with him. That's straight. That looked like another hardware connection issue there, potentially similar to what we saw with Mark Miller, where the car just kind of darted off to the right. Interesting. Yeah, that car, it's acting very weird. That looks like a hardware issue. It's 2 cars now that's happened to in this session. I wonder if there's an issue going on with iRacing potentially. As we got Mark Miller in chat. He says he blinked on his end and came back heading right into the wall. Oh, let's bring Mark Miller's in the waiting room. Let's bring him in here and have a little chat and find out what happened to our third place driver, Mark Miller. What happened out there?
Yeah, that was pretty frustrating. Sorry there. One second. So yeah, that was, I was feeling pretty good. Joseph had a little mistake, and I thought I could maybe track down Cooper, and it had blinked on me a couple times before, but just momentarily, and that time it blinked. It was a blank screen for me and came back right into the wall, and packet loss popped up, and it looks like Lemke just had the same issue. So yeah, frustrating, but you know, that's how it goes.
Yeah, it was odd because it didn't even flag. Well, obviously hit the wall, it didn't flag as a crash for me, so I was looking through and I couldn't find it. Yep. And then I just caught it out in the corner of my eye and off track, so I clicked to it, and well, I don't know if you watched it back or not, but basically we didn't see anything until all of a sudden you were into the wall. And so I made point that normally when you blink out like that, you can still see things in your screen, but nobody else around can see you, so it's very rare that you blink out and the next thing you know you're into the wall, where it looked like it was more like a hardware failure thing. And then we saw what just happened to Lemke too as well, and it looked very similar. The car was acting kind of weird and blinked out, so I don't know what's going on. If maybe it's an iRacing issue on the server side, but it's weird that the two of you had similar issues here in this race, where normally when you blink out you continue to drive on your system for, you usually go a minute or two before it actually gives you a full kick out of the session there. So interesting stuff. Unfortunate for you, you had a nice run going.
Yeah, and you know, I've been through that before, as far as, you know, people saying, hey, you're blinking. Like you said, you know, you can usually keep right on going, but it was different tonight for sure. It was blinking on my screen as well. And yeah, it all happened pretty fast. And the next thing I saw was just wall coming at me really, really quickly. So I knew that was the end of my night. But yeah, next week.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Next week we head to Monza, though. How are you feeling heading to Monza?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I think I'll enjoy that, assuming that I don't have any other issues like I did tonight. So I will hope for the best there. But it looks like Lemke's Atchison is definitely take advantage of some issues here, and looks like he's got a pretty good lead over Lemke. But at least Lemke got back going quickly. You know, for me, it was, you know, I had damage, so that was the end of my race. So luckily Brian didn't hit anything, was able to continue at least. So.
Yeah, you got lucky. You found the one wall that was near the track, and the whole
I sure did.
the whole layout here, the one wall that's right near the track you found. But Lemke, he spun in a wide open place, so lucky for him. But
absolutely.
Best of luck next week to you, Mark, and hopefully you don't have that connection issue again.
I hope so. Thank you.
Take care. There we go. We found out what exactly happened to Mark Miller again. Really strange that it kicked off that way. I know there's an option that you can turn on and off the what do they call it, packet loss network issue, where it kicks you back to the pits. I believe the Mint has to do that when they're setting up the session, so I wonder if maybe Kent Kruger can kick that off, potentially, so we don't have those issues. But Brian Lemke, as Mark Miller mentioned, he was able to have his spin out in a wide open area where it didn't really affect him all that. Well, he lost top spot. Looks like unless he can chase down Atchison here with about 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go, he's got to settle for second place, but could have been a ton worse, as we saw what happened to Mark Miller. But our big beneficiary of all of this, Kent Kruger, the big dog, got himself up into a top 5 position, 6 seconds back of Oz Ixilu. So nice run for Kent Kruger. He's got a nice 5-second gap over Aaron Sunday in 6th place. Jonathan Cooper, after serving that speeding on pit lane penalty, he's fallen from 2nd all the way down to 7th place. So another driver, not a great race shaping out for him off of a race that looked potentially a real gem early on. You got Jesse Meager not too far back behind, another driver who's had some adversity here this evening too as well. But Justin Atchison holding on top spot, 4.5 seconds over Lemke. Lemke doing what he can and try and chase him down. 1.5 seconds faster last lap by for Lemke. Fortunately for him, he's going to run out of laps. So we got about 2 laps to go in this race. Atchison now heading into the final sector here now, about 3 corners to go before he's going to finish up this lap. They should be getting the white flag here this time by. It's going to be close when Atchison crosses the lines. They're doing 1:47. No, this will be the last lap coming up. So Lemke's going to need a real hero lap to close that gap, or a mistake from Atchison. 1 more corner to go, and then we'll kick off the final lap here for Justin Atchison. Down the front straight he goes. See if Brian Lemke can chase him down. Joseph Maher. Joseph had his issues in this race too as well, but got himself back up into 3rd place, taking advantage of some others' mistakes. He's got Chris Diaz a lap down in behind him, so Diaz is behind Maher on track, but he is a lap down to him. Michael Cummings and Sean Giroux battling it out a little farther back. I believe Cummings had an off track too as well. He was sitting up near the front half, the sharp half of the field. He's going to make his way around Sean Giroux there too. Nice move by him. See if we can find quickly what happened to Michael Cummings. Yes, here it is here. Oh, he just gets way out onto the grass. Oh, and then unfortunately comes back on, gets up on the curb, loses the back end again. So that cost him a ton of time. Again, though, another driver kept it off the wall. Story of the day, though, Justin Atchison taking advantage of others' misfortunes. Although Lemke pushing hard to close down that gap. He's got down to 2.9 seconds, but unfortunately he's going to run out of time. Atchison decides to keep this thing on track. Not push too hard, as we've seen a number of drivers losing the back end before. It's all a matter of conservation at this point in time. Around the final corner, here we go. Checker flag out for Justin Atchison. He's going to take it to the line, and he'll claim the win. Lemke going to come home in 2nd. Joseph Maher going to bring home the final step on the podium. Oz Ixilu out of the final corner. Nice run for him. The big dog, Kent Kruger, our biggest mover and shaker. Driver of the Day award for Kent Kruger. The Yorkshire T-Car across the line for a top 5 finish. His dogs are going to be happy about that one. Aaron Sunday, nice showing for him. +5 on the day. Coop's going to recover to 7th place. Jesse Meager just behind him. Michael Cummings. Another driver who had a race to forget. Bring it home just inside the top 10 ahead of Sean Giroux, who takes the final spot in the top 10. There we go with Drew crossing the line. That makes it an official race. All of our cars left on the lead lap, finished up. Take a look at the official results. Justin Atchison brings it home in top spot, just ahead of Brian Lemke. Joseph Martin rounding out the podium. Ozzik Sulu in fourth. Kent Kruger, Aaron Sunday, John Cooper, Jesse Meager, Sean Giroux, and Michael Cummings round out your top 10. Diaz, Miller, Zinn, and Mitchell. Unfortunate set of circumstances for all those drivers. They are going to see various points of laps down on this one, but congrats again to Justin Atchison bringing home the win in this one. So we'll just have a little quick reset here. We'll bring in a couple drivers to have a chat and see how the race went early on for them here, as we had all sorts of connection issues, drivers forcing the issue wide here and there, and overall it ended up being a great race in the end. But let's bring in Brian Lemke. Lemke, you managed to bring it home in second place after a little bit of adversity there. Looks like potentially a packet loss issue for you. We lost the car into the grass.
Yeah, for whatever reason, my wheel got disconnected just in the middle of leading, and started spinning around, and everything froze on me. So I had to turn the wheel off, turn it back on, figure out where I was on the track, and get going again. I'm pretty lucky to finish second. That could have been much, much worse.
Yeah, we had Mark Miller in as well, and he had a similar issue, I guess, where he said all of a sudden he had packet loss, and then he blinked out, and next thing he knew he was heading into the wall. And I had mentioned to him that it's rare, because anytime I've seen where a driver's had a connection issue, normally your screen is fine. You can still kind of see where you're going, but you blink out on everybody else's screen. And it seemed like almost for the two of you is where the packet loss, I don't know what it looked like in your end, but you guys just kind of disappeared and then came back in out of nowhere. Both of you went off track. We were watching the replay, and now you mentioned you had a wheel issue. It looked like the car was kind of squirming around and acting up, and so it makes sense that you kind of have a bit of a hardware issue there too as well. But fortunately for you, we were able to bring it home back in second. But we head to Monza next week. How you feeling about taking the new car to Monza?
Yeah, Monza's never really been a great track for me. I like the real technical, linking corners together, kind of like this track was for sure. The drafting tracks, I seem to struggle a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. I'm sure a lot of these other guys are going to be really quick next week for sure.
Yeah, you were the only driver that got into the 46s, so I assume you put in a bit of time learning the new track here this week. What did you think of it? I know you mentioned that you like some of the corners that kind of link together, but overall as a track, it's not really. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's not really much of a looker, where there's not really much around to mark off any kind of brake markers or turn-in markers. But how do you like the new track?
Yeah, we raced the Mazda here maybe a week and a half ago. That was my first time at this track, and I had so much fun. That track combo was a blast, and it carried over to tonight. Yeah, these technical tracks with a lot of linking corners and a lot of trail braking, and getting the car to kind of twist into all the corners. That's what I really enjoy. So I feel right at home at this track. Actually reminds me a lot of my local track, to be honest with you.
Well, excellent stuff. Well, congrats on getting the P2. I'm sure you wish would have been one more step higher, but being all the adversary or the issues you had to come across, I'm sure you'll take the P2. And best of luck next week to you, Brian.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and thanks for the broadcast.
Take care.
Bye.
That was our second place finisher, Brian Lemke, also our pole sitter for the race. So it looks like Lemke was our only driver in here. Mark Miller we talked to earlier on too as well. So we'll sign off for the race here, and we'll catch you next week. As we mentioned, next week we head to Monza. Should be a exciting race. It's as Brian Lemke mentioned, going to be a bit of a draft fest. You're going to want to stay in the draft of the car up ahead of you. I'm not sure which layout we're running, whether it's with all the chicanes or not, but Monza always is entertaining, especially into turn one with these cars that don't have much in the way of braking power or aerodynamics. It'll be interesting to see what kind of carnage, if any, we have into turn one. But that said, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week at Monza. Bye for now.